Yeah, man. I went to the range today and shot a whole video. Came home, tried to edit it, and deleted it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Big Ball Vlogs, Big Ball Shooting. If you haven't followed either of those channels, please definitely go over and check out Big Ball Shooting if you're into 2A community stuff. So, for months, I have been watching this gun on many social media gun tuber or influencer channels be called the Glock Killer. And I was like, man, at this point, I just got to try it out because I've seen many that have tried to steal the throne from Glock. And in my opinion, they didn't succeed. It's you either wanted it, but you couldn't take away what Glock brought to the market or what Glock offered. And yeah, man, I've had different guns, and I'm not just a Glock guy. I've had different guns, and I was like, why would I mean? At the end of the day, I wanted the gun that every other gun on the market compared itself to. Every gun on the market that had a striker fire was like, I'm a Glock killer. I'm going to try to be a Glock killer. So I wanted to have the Glock, and that's what I got. I got a lot of them. But yeah, this gun right here. I mean, I ain't gonna get into it right now, but I think this gun right now is putting pressure on Glock. But hey, man. I'm not sure yet on whether or not I'm going to be a full convert. But in the box, let's talk about it. We're talking about the Springfield Echelon. And in the box, like for the price, I mean, I'm also impressed by what you get in the box. I know a lot of you, this isn't new because there's a lot of people out there who's like, the Echelon's not new. They have the Echelon comp out now, in fact. But there's some guys out there like myself who've never owned one of these things or just right now looking for Springfield Echelon on YouTube. And hopefully this video will give you a little bit more information to help you make an informed purchase. Because at the end of the day, a lot of influencers just get guns, run thousands of rounds to them, like bing, 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 bing. And at the end of the day, it's a gun and it shoots. So what differentiates this from any other gun? So I'm going to give you a comparison compared to Glock because I'm the Glock guy. And I've been shooting Glock since I bought my first Gen 2 Glock when I was 21 years old, and I am 50 years old this year. And I still got it. It's a Gen 2 Glock 19. In the box, you get a lot. You get this optics mounting system that they talk about where you can mount multiple form factor or footprint optics to it. I'll get into that in a minute. You get this quality card that shows you that they actually tested this thing out before they shot it. I mean, before they sent it to you, they shot it. You have back straps. It's going to come with a small, medium, large back strap. It's going to come with a magazine loader. It's going to come with your bicycle lock. It's going to come with an instruction manual or some type of manual, safety manual. And it's also going to come with, which, due to some of the restrictions around YouTube, 2 magazines. Both of them may not be compliant in your state. One was set up to be high capacity. The other one was set up to be extra high capacity. Look it up if you want to figure out what that means. But it came with the accessories to make both of those magazines extra high capacity in the box. This one that I bought also came with, I don't know why, but it came with a lower, a second lower, which was Desert Tan, because this gun is set up like the the SIG P320, where, and I don't know about any of the other SIGs, that's the one that I used to own, where you can take out the fire control group and take that and put it into a different frame. And every part except for that fire control group is an accessory. The fire control group is the registered part of the gun, which essentially is the gun that you would need to transfer if you were deciding to sell. You could sell the grip, you could sell everything, the upper and the grip module itself, but you could not sell that fire control group. So came with a lot. Mine did, and I got it on sale. So I was, while justifying why I want to buy it, one reason was I never had a full size Glock Glock 17. The second was the price was good, and the third was it was Glock form factor, and everybody talked about it like it was a Glock killer. So I think I went through the box. I also right now got mine with which I got a hell of a deal. I'm gonna say I got a hell of a deal. Mine right now, actually, you can go over to Springfield, and they will give you during this program that they got called the Gear Up. You will get 3 additional mags in a range bag. So if you're looking to buy right now, the pressure is on Glock because Springfield is throwing so much your way for a hell of a deal. So this is the pistol. Again, not new to many, new to me, but maybe new to some others. It's a full size 9mm pistol. And compared to Glock, yeah, you can kind of see it, right? Kind of has the shape of a Glock 19, or not the shape of a Glock 19, the shape of a Glock 17, with the exception that it is more ergonomic with these rounded grip areas here, texturing all over the grip. Trigger seems to be Glockish, and then you got that Glock safety bar type on the flat facing trigger, the built-in flat facing trigger. Everything, I think when I measured it, the slide itself measures at 1.1 millimeters wide. So I know a lot of these carry guns are talking about only being, no, sorry, not millimeters, 1 inch wide. So I know a lot of these carry guns are talking about being 1 inch wide. This gun comes in at 1.1 inches wide. And it is putting pressure on that Glock, boy. Man, I mean, this thing's putting pressure on the Glock. You start from the top. Slide serrations, which are awesome. As you can see, the gun is clear. Got them on front and back. You have sights that are these. I love them because I have poor vision at night, and lower light makes it harder for me to focus on the sights. These large dot U-notch sights are the best for people who wear glasses because, I mean, with the glasses on, with the glasses off, I can always make out the sights and put those rounds on target. And I absolutely love that. Downside is because they, they're such great sights, they're not suppressor height. So if you put an optic on it, you may not be able to co-witness, right? It is fully ambidextrous. So ambi slide release, ambi magazine release. Love it. Didn't think I would love that so much until I got my 545 and started training with my left hand and realized that it is easier to manipulate the mag release with my thumb than it is with my index finger. So love that it is able to be worked ambidextrous because I'm going to be really practicing that. And like I said, none of my Glocks are older than Gen 3, so I don't have any ambidextrous features. Going down to the grip module, the grip module has this texturing that I call it rough smooth. It's like very light sandpaper. It's not super aggressive like my everyday carry here, my G3C. That's like grip tape on there. And even my other pistol here, which I call my Gucci Glock, has this same texturing on it, which is super rough. Nothing on the front though, nothing on the back, but here, super rough. I like that on those guns where this is pretty smooth, but it has it everywhere. It has here, has it here, has it across here, has it on all the sides. It has it in every place that you would want to rest a finger to get a good purchase on the gun, even on this little takedown lever here and this little area, which is thumb or finger rest, actually. Let's see, thumb rest. I like it. But again, it's not as aggressive as I thought it would be, as aggressive as it looks. It's very smooth. It's like somebody who probably hasn't shaved in a couple days, or woman who hasn't shaved her legs in a couple days. Not the most aggressive. But I'm not complaining. But when it comes down to it, let's keep going. Let's keep going. At the bottom, you have no mag well. Well, you do have a mag well, but it's not like an aftermarket mag well. But you have this little cutout right here for like stripping out magazines, which, thought about it. All the things that guys are going to do to the gun after the fact, they already put it in there for you. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everything else is Glock-ish. Like it looks like a Glock. It feels like a Glock. It's got a full rail on it. You put a light on it if that's what you're into. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but it even has texturing on the front of the recoil spring. Now, this is where guns, pistols, Glock tends to fail, right? For years, like I said, I got my Glock when I was 21, Glock Gen 2. Glock continues to do the same thing over and over again. They refuse to change anything, where you're just probably getting additional serrations and nothing else is changing about the Glock. You still got that same basic, bland, square, blocky gun, right? They thought about all of the things that guys are going to see when they buy a gun, and they already put them into the gun for you, right? So optics cut, heavy serrations, even these things right here, which I guess are for cocking, but my trial of using them shows that with wet hands, maybe not as aggressive, like to grab onto as these are. These are like cutting to your hand, like grippy. And these are also cutting to your hand like grippy, but this isn't. Also, I did find that I can rack with the sight off the belt, but I cannot rack off the side of the gun. So don't know if it's really meant for racking as much as looks, but it looks damn good. But let's get into the true star. I got to show you something real quick. If you're not a Glock guy, the reason people say people say Glock triggers suck is this. Glock's triggers have this no wall spongy take up and then it breaks, right? So right there, like you see, it's really spongy. It feels, sometimes it feels kind of gritty, but it all works together to keep the Glock safe. You got the Glock trigger bar here. The Glock trigger safety. Then in the trigger bar, it kind of manipulates the striker safety and some other safety features in the gun. It's very dangerous to modify a Glock trigger, because when you modify the trigger pull on it, you're modifying the pull and the trigger bar, which could be disabling the safety features of the Glock. So you don't want to do that. But back to the trigger. So when you want to pull a Glock trigger, it's like very mushy in here. There's no wall. See how it's just like a spring? You can't see it, but there's like a springy movement there. That's like the wall, and it's mushy and it's spongy, and you just push right through it. There's no pronounced wall there. It kind of tightens up a little bit, and then you go through it. And then the reset, which is, where some people are like, oh, the reset. I don't know why people talk about reset so much, but the reset is kind of far out. So the reset is like way out here, right? That's the reset. And then again, very mushy, very, very spongy. This is where I don't know why Glock hasn't gotten better, because they've had so many years to do it. Check this trigger out. All right. So very defined wall right there. That's the take up. That's the wall. That wall is a wall. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't move. It's a wall. And then think a pretty crisp break at about 4.5 pounds. I've done it with a trigger pull gauge, and it's about 4.5 pounds every time. Now, how about the reset, right? So people talk about resets. I don't know why, but the reset this, the reset that. Here's the reset. Look how far it moves. Right there. That's the reset. That's the break. Very short. That's where Glock needs to go, man. Like I'm a fan of the gun because it is truly the Glock. Like I said, my Gen 2, I've been running rounds to that forever. Never have I had to do any maintenance on it. Nothing's ever broken on it. And I've run rounds through it. It just keeps running and running and running. But they refuse to do anything like this, to modify or update their style or their form factor to be more modern to what today's pistols are offering. Now, again, there's a lot of pistols out there that people pay a lot of money for that have the same issues that a generic Glock have, like a Shadow Systems. It runs off of Glock parts. A G-Force Rapture. It is essentially a cloned Glock 43 or Glock 26. I can't remember. I think it's a Glock 43, but it all runs off of Glock parts, which means they all feel the same, right? Well, people will go, oh, I pay $1,000 for my Shadow Systems because I bet my life on it. I mean, I built that gun for less than $500, and I don't own a gun that I wouldn't trust my life to, including my everyday carry or G3C. All right. So, when people talk about the amount that they spend on a gun, usually it's because it's a bragging thing. Yeah, I just bought a Staccato. I mean, yeah, you bought a $4,000 2011. Like 1911s were never that great, but that's a different story. But anyway, yeah, it's because they want to talk about what they spent on the gun, not really because of reliability. You just got to know the gun. You got to know the reliability, reputation, and kind of go with your gut on whether or not you want to get it or not. This is a gun that I would recommend, like, over a Glock. I'm not going to lie. Is it a Glock killer? Nah, it's not, because at the end of the day, Glocks have an ecosystem of parts. They have accessories that, go so like ridiculous, like amount of accessories readily available. Whereas something like this, there are going to be manufacturers that kind of, put them out there. But why? You don't need it. The trigger's fine, flat face, brakes great. I know there's some aftermarket metal frames for this. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with this, but would you want to? Don't know. I forgot. Texturing here, texturing there, texturing everywhere on this gun. I don't think I would. I would leave it as is. And we did a lot of shooting with it today. We probably put about 150 rounds through it. And I didn't have an issue at all. I didn't even oil the gun. I took it right out of the box and just started running bullets through it. And it ran flawless. Flawless, man. I like it. But again, is it a Glock killer? I don't think so. There's been so many guns that said they were Glock killers that they weren't really Glock killers. They were just they're riding the coattails of the fame of Glock to get your attention, right? They have very competitively done something that would get people who likes Glock's attention, but I don't think nothing at this point has provoked me to change brands. I'll say that. Nothing, and including this. If I didn't own a pistol right now, if I didn't own any guns right now, this would be probably one of the ones I would buy. Price, competitive, accessories, TBD, what you get in the box is enough. And if you catch it on sale with that gear up, I mean, this is an excellent deal. Great sights, optics cut, which I don't think I talked about the optics cut either. So with the optics cut, I realized right before I bought this, a lot of people are saying you can mount any optics to it. You can, but not out of the box. So if you want to mount a Delta Point Pro, RMR, or a 407, 507, or an RMSC, it comes with the mounts for that. If you want to mount like a Doctor, which I almost bought a really nice Doctor footprint optic. You can't without a plate, which is going to raise the deck height. And if you raise the deck height, because these are not suppressor high, you're going to lose your co-witness. So be aware of that. And if you want to mount like an Aimpoint Pro, you're going to need a plate to mount that on there again, which is most people who run Aimpoint Pros lose their irons anyway, because you can't see them through the deck height and everything. But yeah, think about that before you buy your optic for this. Make sure that you're buying one that fits. And if you're anal like me and don't want to have a space between the front and rear of the optic and the slide, you definitely want to buy one that's going to fill that gap, which is going to be a bigger one like a Delta Point Pro or a RMR Hollow Sun setup. The RMSC may not ride off the sides, but it's going to definitely leave a gap. And that's why I was not very impressed by the Toro version, because with the Toro, it does that. It has a gap in there when we put that plate on. When I ran the smaller optic on it, had huge gap in the front and rear of that, and it looks ugly as hell to me, so I put a bigger optic on there just because. But yeah, man. Is this a Glock killer? I don't know, but it definitely brought the pressure.